Hey everybody, HabNormals is back from vacation. All right, so we got a big show for you today. Actually, it's a little bit of a new format, so you'll notice it's going to be a little bit shorter, less topics, and what we're going to do is we're going to sort of review the games from because it's been 3 weeks since we've been on, so we're going to pick our favorite games from the last 3 weeks. Talk about that. We're going to talk about the main topic is have the Habs turn the corner in the rebuild, and we'll give you our opinions on that. And of course, you guys watching, let us know what you think in the comment section when we're talking about that. We're going to take a look at the Habs 3 stars of the last 3 weeks. So there's a lot of games and a lot of guys to choose from, and we'll see how that goes. And we'll predict how the next 3 games are going to go for next week. I think we might also throw in a quick topic of Lane Hudson and the numbers and the records, or not records, but the numbers he's putting up, and just Lane Hudson's stats. And that's all right here. HabNormals starts now.
Swagger down the street with your red lips and funky beat. You better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die.
I like that song. That's I really do like our opening song. All right, so I'm Rick. If you don't know who I am, and I'm here with my normal
And I'm
co-host
Matt.
down there,
I love
Matt,
gold.
American Matt. And I say that because of he wants to talk about the World Juniors, and I don't want to talk about it. So I don't think we're going to talk about the World Juniors. But because I lost a bet, I will say what a great team the American kids were. What a great team, and they deserve to win. Bet paid now.
I don't know.
I think it is. All right.
It is.
So we've been gone for 3 weeks. So our last show was a week before Christmas, I think. Because of the, I think, yeah, exactly a week because it was Wednesday and it was Wednesday, Christmas Day. So we haven't been here for a while. How was your holidays?
Yeah, it was good, man. Had a nice week off of work. It was good. Got to unwind a little bit. Went on a little mini vacation. It was fun. Good to spend time with family.
Awesome. Mine was okay. I mean, can't complain. Same shit, different day for me. I don't do much, even if it's the holidays. So yeah, we've been gone for 3 weeks. There was I don't know how many games, but something like I don't know, 8 or 9 games, 10 games, something like that in the
Yeah,
3
real
weeks.
good amount of games.
There's been a few games anyway. I don't know exactly how many. So what games stood out for you? Do you have a game that like really stood out for you?
Yeah. For me, I think it was the game against the Panthers. Dobish's debut. The fact that he shut out the defending, became the second goalie ever to shut out the defending. Third rather. Sorry, to ever shut out the defending Cup champion in his debut. I think was incredible, and he was very, very good in that game. Made some really, really good saves. Didn't really look out of place at all. Like looked like he had,
No.
you know,
Same thing in his other
looked
game.
like he was ready to play. And I think the guys in front of him played really well too. I thought it was a really good game, start to finish.
It
And
was.
yeah, we won that game. Won a bunch of games lately. It's been a lot of fun to watch.
A lot and against a lot of good competition. I have trouble to answer that because I would say it's not one game, but it is that I think starting with that Florida game, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was Florida, Tampa, Vegas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had said after they had beat the two Florida teams, Florida and Tampa, and I said if they beat Vegas, they're making the playoffs. So it was a big hot take, whatever. And you know what? I was worried that the next game, and I guess it kind of was right as that was the Chicago game, and
Chicago, yeah,
they lost to Chicago, and I go, oh God, did I jinx them? But then they bounced back against Colorado, and who did they just play and beat?
and then Vancouver, yeah, come from behind, win against the Canucks.
These are all teams that better teams than them, at least start of the season. And I don't know. They something's happened with this team. There's a change that has happened. But we'll get into that in a few minutes. Yeah, so for me, I'm gonna go with the Vegas game because for me that was
Yeah, come from behind. No, that's a good choice. And look, I agree. I think that group of games really, I think really would be my pick is one. But if I only had to pick one of those again, I go with the Florida game because it was
no, that's
Vegas'
fair.
debut.
That's fair. Like I
But I
said, it's
agree that
difficult.
stretch of games there, depending on how the season ends. I mean, you look at that was could call that the turnaround.
Well,
You know
it
what I mean?
is, and every year Montreal does a post-Christmas road trip, and they don't usually do well. It depends on the year, but in general, they don't do well. It's a losing trip, and it usually affects how the season goes. It's a good way to tell how their season will end up, kind of. And then this year they had this great road trip, and they took 8 out of 12 points because a lot of people don't remember the Columbus game that was just before the Christmas break. So it's not really counted as the post, but it was part of the 6-game road trip overall. And they took 8 out of 12 points, and they played. It's not like they just skimmed by and like, wow, I don't know how we beat these teams. They did not dominate, but man, that was kind of close to being dominating. I mean, against Florida, I don't know how they didn't really dominate, but
no, but they were really in control of that game. Like I didn't really feel at any point of that game Florida was really in control of anything.
They weren't.
If that makes sense? Like
even though it wasn't dominate, but Montreal controlled that game pretty much from start to finish. Now with the Vegas game, it wasn't like that. I mean, the Tampa game kind of was. It was a 5-2 game. I don't know that Tampa was in that game at all. When you look back at it, right?
Maybe after like the first 10 minutes or so, maybe. Like, I thought maybe, but yeah, I mean, after that, again, the Canadiens kind of slowly took control and
they didn't look back.
Didn't really take their feet off the gas pedal.
No. But then they got to Vegas, and that game they hit a team that was better than them. And it kind of looked like Vegas was going to win that game, right? First, I don't know if it was all the way through the first 2 periods or not.
Yeah, it really wasn't until the third period that the Habs really woke up. But I mean, they woke up and won that third period.
Yeah, the offense kind of woke up. The defense, I mean, kept them in the game. I mean, they were not out of the game as far as score goes. But they just, I think it was 3-1 at one point. And they came, or no, it was a 3-2 game, right? So it was 2-1. And Montreal didn't, I don't know, in the last 10 minutes of the third period, I'm blanking on what exactly when, but I mean, they just took over the game. They scored the 2 goals to tie and go ahead, and they beat Vegas. And I couldn't believe it. I had that hot take, but I did not really think they were going to beat Vegas. To be very honest, I didn't think they would. And they did. And I don't know, it's crazy. The way they're playing and the way yeah, again, we're going to get into this in a few minutes. We're still doing game reviews. This is going to get out of hand and go into the next subject. But before we do that, were there any other games that stood out to you? Because it's hard to go back 3 weeks and to remember. Because I looked over them today while I was, getting ready for the show, and there were some good wins. Like they started out with the back-to-back wins against Detroit. Like there were some good wins in there. But it's hard to go back. I have more recency bias, I guess. But I mean,
but I agree though. I think that stretch of 3 games, Florida, Tampa, and then Vegas. I think winning those 3 games really kind of said, all right, maybe they are starting to kind of turn that next page in the rebuild. Maybe they are starting to go somewhere, and it's not just that they won. Watching them play now versus the past few years, like even at the beginning of this year, like they don't look like they're trying to figure out what to do. They're passing the puck a lot more crisply. They're where they're supposed to be defensively more often than not. It feels like, the whole team's gained a lot of confidence. And, and I think a lot of that came with finally kind of really learning and committing to memory the kind of hybrid zone and man type of defensive structure.
Yep.
And once they got that, I mean, it's, They got all the they're playing like a very confident team right now, and I just haven't seen that the past couple years.
The defense, I guess we're going to go into this. Have they turned a corner? Because they have. Once they added Line, who it's weird, he's been out for 3 games being sick, and it's not like I would have thought, oh man, they're going to miss him so bad. Yes, but not really. They're still winning and they're still playing well. And but so they added Line about, and then the big change for me was Alex Carrier when they traded
1000%.
Barron for
1000%.
Carrier. This team changed, right? They shored up the defensive problem. And by the way, apparently Roman Josi over there in Nashville is about fed up with Justin Barron. I read something.
Well, and it's funny you bring that up because I know you read the article because I think you sent it to me and I think you sent it in the group chat. But it sounds like the Predators didn't scout well when they made that
was they got him. It's not the guy that they scouted.
It sounds like they wanted Jack Guy, but they were scouting Barron and thought, oh, this must be that guy.
And then they called
up Ken Hughes to make the trade, and he probably said, yes, deal, call the league now.
I don't know how that could happen, but somebody screwed up. But apparently Roman Josi's been playing with Roman Josi. And Josi apparently
been with
fed up with him as a partner.
He's fed up with himself?
Roman Josi.
Said Yossi's been playing with Josi.
No, with Barron.
No, I know.
I think everybody understood that, but you. And yeah, something about he wants to choke him or something like, I don't forget what I read, just a little bit of something. And apparently Josi is a little fed up with him. So yeah, that big mistake over there. So bringing in Alex Carrier shored up that problem on defense, that weakness that caused them to run around along with their learning the new system. I think at the same time, all these things happened and I don't know what this is, but this team is different. This team is no longer a bottom 10 team.
They're a confident team. Like I said, it's even if you watch game film from the past few games to even at the beginning of this year, like they I'm watching games now and they're making plays that I would expect, guys that have NHL experience that have figured out what they're doing to be making. They're not just kind of trying to like make things up out of thin air, or that's not really the right phrase for it, but like, you know what I mean? Like early on this season, right? Obviously earlier on the rebuild. And a lot of that does have to do with the youth on the team, but like, because they were playing like they kind of didn't know what they were doing and they were still kind of learning.
That was the system. They were struggling with that defensive system.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's clearly what it was.
Even in the offensive zone, I mean, how much I'm really interested to see what the offensive zone time stat is the past few games.
Okay,
they really look like they've been able to hold the zone a lot more. Like,
you know what they say? There is an old saying, and we had it in the group chat earlier this week, and I think Alex put it in. He had it wrong. The saying is the best offense is a good defense.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have if you're goalie from net out and your defense is solid, that creates those more offensive chances, right? Because if your defense is getting the puck out, right? I mean, you're out in the other zones a lot more often, and because we've been in they've been they run around their it's not coming.
I mean, we used the Keystone Cops a few times.
We've been running around the defensive zone like chickens without our heads, or I say like I'm on the team, for most of the season, and then they got Carrier and it stopped. And that's what happened. So it seems like a coincidence a bit in that change where they kind of got the zone and man-on-man thing, and Carrier came in and settled down that second pairing. And what a difference this team is. Because when you fix
we haven't really had Savard that much either. He's been in and out of the lineup hurt.
Because he's playing now on the line the pairing he should be, the third pair. That's where Savard should be playing.
Yeah.
So that set that right. But when your defense is good, your offense can be better.
And not even that, but yeah, I mean the fact that Carrier and coming in, like I looked at Carrier's underlying defensive numbers and stuff, like his cards. And I mean, I knew right away when I saw it, I said, that's going to be the stabilizing force we needed on the defense. Because, yeah, I mean, he's not going to get points. He's not that type of defenseman. But his underlying numbers are fantastic. And that's what we needed. We needed another one of those guys to shore up the back end. And we got that.
And then look at these. And you add this guy on defense as well. Look at these numbers for Lane Hudson. Zone exits, 94, 7th in the league. That's 7th among all defensemen in the league. Zone entries, got 40, 6th. Offensive zone possession, 1636, 3rd in the league. Slot passes, 41, he's 1st in the league. Points, 19. I guess at the time. No, it's got to be. I think in the last 19 games. That's why. Since November 27th. Yeah. He's tied for 3rd. This is a rookie defenseman who's supposed to be too small and not good defensively. Look at that. It's crazy. That's another reason for
it goes to show, right, how long and I mean even before I joined you on this, but even when I joined you, how long have we begged and pleaded to bring in a defenseman to move the puck up the ice from the back end? Like, how long have we needed somebody who was elite at that and could do that at an elite level? And now we have that in Lane Hudson to go along with
talking more
ability on the back end.
But we were talking more of just guys releasing the players, right?
Yeah.
Hudson does a lot more than that, though.
Right, but you know what I'm saying, though. Even still, like having a guy that can bring the puck up when he needs to. From
No, I'm not. I wasn't. I mean,
some of his breakout passes are friggin' insane. I mean, he puts the puck in place only his forwards can get.
The Vancouver game, that was his best game ever in the NHL so far.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
The Vancouver game, he was facing, I guess, Quinn Hughes, and that. I don't know if he went into this game saying, I'm going to show the league and Quinn Hughes that Lane Hudson is here. Mm-hmm. And that's what he did. Because
I thought he was the best, honestly, probably the best player on the ice.
He was, and he outshone Quinn Hughes. He was fantastic. He stepped up
both ends of the ice
in that game.
Both ends of the ice. I thought he was really good. But yeah, I mean, offensively. Yeah. 2 assists and a goal, and it wasn't. I mean, obviously his goal, he accidentally banked it off of Quinn.
Doesn't matter. They all count.
I think he was looking at Galley, but again, right? He does.
They all count.
So many awesome things just with the puck, and not even just with the puck. Like there was a play. I think it was. I don't think it was his goal. I think it was one of the ones he set up, and he was bringing the puck up along the boards, and he made a little fake, like. Blink and you miss it, that he was going to back pass it, froze everybody around him, and he had like 10 miles of open ice and just flew. And then I think he passed it. I forget who he passed it to for the goal.
But he's just getting better. It's hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine a guy comes in as a rookie and up to now has done what he's done so far, and he's getting better already in this season. And the improvement, even
not to toot my own horn, but like I called this from, I said it both years he was at BU. Just again from watching him a lot in person, I didn't think he was going to come into the NHL and really struggle much at all. Maybe a little bit to get used to it, but I mean he's doing everything he did at BU.
I thought he'd have an adjustment period. I thought he'd never see the AHL, and he never will. Unless he has to go for a conditioning stint. But I thought he'd have an adjustment period, but no, I mean, it was a seamless, to me,
it's his hockey IQ, right? And I've talked about this a lot, but, you know, you look at interviews with his teammates over the years, and every time they get asked about, who's got the highest IQ on the team, or, who on the team.
Who's the smartest player here.
And they always say it's him, like, and it's not close. Yeah. And it shows. I mean, maybe a couple of games, if that, it took him to kind of get used to, just
offensively, I don't think it took him any game. I think where his adjustment was on defense, right. Because if you look at if you have the games, right, the first 20, his plus minus wasn't very good. But you know what? In the last, I don't know if it's 11 games or whatever, his plus minus, he's a plus player. +7 it was in his last, I don't know if it's 19 in these 19 games that they're talking about. But he's improved on the defense. That's, to me, the only place that he has improved. Everything else, he came in and he's just doing the shit he does. All the stuff you heard about that he did in college, he did in junior. He's doing it here. He's as a rookie.
Yeah, and look, has he made a few mistakes? Yeah. I mean, but that's just the game he plays.
That's the game he plays.
But the other thing, and I noticed this in college a lot, and I picked up on it, and it again, in my head, it clicked. It went, this kid's going to be successful in the NHL because he does this. He is so good at adapting and learning.
Yeah.
And tossing what doesn't work and staying to what works.
Yeah.
So many times I've seen him, maybe try a move or a breakout and he loses the puck, or he does something, he gives the puck away, and it's like in one ear and out the other. You don't see him do it ever again because he goes, all right, that didn't work. I got to do something else. And he's just so good at that.
Yeah. In the NHL,
that's how he's going to be successful at the NHL level. Because things that he does that don't work, that teams think they can key in on, he's not going to do it anymore.
Yeah, it takes a little longer, I noticed. It may be an extra game or two before you adjust, but that's the part what I'm talking about. When he got here, the defensive side was a little bit too much for him. But boy, it didn't take him long. It really didn't take him long because
it's because he's such a smart kid. I mean,
into the season, I thought he's one of the better defensemen. Like defensively, Hudson's actually one of the best here.
Oh yeah.
And it just got better. So yeah, he adjusts pretty quickly. He learns, and like you say, he tries not to make the same mistake twice. Although the game he plays, he tries things. He's gonna make. It's not gonna work every time, and it's gonna cost here and there. But he's gonna make up for it in so many other ways that anybody gets mad.
Like I said, when it happens, it's like, I don't care because I'm going to take his 2 assists on the other end of the ice all day, every day.
It's behind you. If anybody gets mad when Lane Hudson, something doesn't work and he gives up a breakaway and there's a goal scored, well, then you don't know the game of hockey, because that type of player, unfortunately, will cost your team every now and then and give up a goal. It's going to happen because he's not perfect. He's about as close, though, as I've seen, I have to say. For a rookie?
No, I mean, I'm saying, man, I love the kid to death. I think I truly think he's going to be an elite defenseman in this league. He's already on pace, I think, for 60 points as a rookie defenseman. Like, I don't know when the last time that happened was.
I don't know where you're going with going to be an elite defenseman. Look at the numbers I just showed you.
No, I mean, he is.
Numbers right there. That's an elite defenseman numbers. If will he keep doing that? I don't see why not. He'll just get better. So I think he's already proving that as a rookie, this kid's an elite defenseman already.
Yeah. No, I mean, without a doubt. And, look, he'll just keep getting better on the back end. And, they'll put him with better partners. And again, that'll kind of even out, right? Because, if he makes a mistake every now and then, well, if you put him with someone like a Carrier or a Gooley, someone like that, or even like Matheson now, where, I know Matheson isn't the most like defensively adept defenseman, but he's experienced. He can get back and cover. It's not
working.
Yeah.
Matheson Hudson is working.
Yeah.
I don't know why I know people look at it and go, 2 offensive defensemen, you can't put them together. I don't know. It seems to be working pretty good for me.
I think it is. And the second Gooley Carrier has been fantastic.
Oh yeah. Gooley Carrier has been good.
I mean, the last game, too, I think Gooley's really done a much better job asserting himself physically. Last game, I think he smoked 3 guys in a row.
Well, within, 20 seconds into the game, he smoked a guy at their blue line.
Yeah.
I think, or the red line, I can't remember, but he just smoked that guy.
He had, 2 hits. I think 10 seconds later, he did it again. Someone was trying to get into the blue line, and he stood him up, and I was like, I like that. I like that nastiness.
Yeah, because he's got a reliable defensive partner. When you have Barron as your defensive partner, I'm sorry, but you have to be watching over that guy.
Well, and I think, too, that's another reason, like we said, they've really been able to gain confidence in the defensive system, because now Caden Gooley doesn't have to look over his shoulder and make sure Barron's where he needs to be.
Yeah.
You go, Carrier is going to do his job, so I can do my thing. And look at how good they've been together.
Yeah,
They've been
and
fantastic.
it is not to say Carrier's been perfect because he hasn't been, but man, he has been good, and he has been head and shoulders better than having Barron in there.
And he's gotten he's gotten a decent amount of points. Yeah.
He does get points. It's not like he's a guy that gets 5 points a season. I mean, he'll get 20 to 30 points a season. That's decent for a guy.
Yeah, for a defensive defenseman, yeah.
But defenseman now, I think modern defenseman is not going to be a guy that is a stay-at-home, a guy that's an offensive. You kind of got to do both.
They're kind of more two-way, but he's more so like, obviously, like without a doubt, he's a lot more steady and skilled defensively than he is offensively. But he knows how to move. He can pass the puck nice. Like you
have to be. You have to be today. Which is why, listen, Hudson is pretty good defensively because you got to be. A modern defenseman has to be good on both ends of the ice. Mm-hmm. I think that's just the way it is. They're not all going to be as talented as Hudson. That's for sure. But you got to be a two-way defenseman now, I think. As you know, the strictly stay-at-home guy is kind of, you don't see as many that are like that, right?
Right.
Like an Edmondson, say, like they're not. There's no room anymore. You got to be able to contribute at both ends of the ice.
Especially for sure, and would certainly, have a defense. I mean, Savard, but
okay, but he's
even Arbor Jack, and I want to talk about. I'll let you finish your thought, but I do want to touch on Jack.
I just say with Savard, look at his age. I mean, he's one of those guys that he's on the way out. Anyway, go ahead.
But no, I do want to touch on Jack as well because I've been super impressed with his run of play lately. I mean, he's been disciplined. He really hasn't taken a lot of penalties.
No,
at all.
He's figured it out.
I haven't really seen him make any mistakes at all. He's simplified his game and he listened to what Marty had to tell him. And I think he's been very good.
Teams going forward, I think in the modern game, like, I don't know when the change was, but going forward, you can't have a defenseman that, like I said, strictly stay at home. But you can't have a guy that's just going to fight and get penalties all the time. For Jack to stay in the league and to have a regular spot, he had to figure out how to do both. Seems like he's figured it out.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I think too, and I think Marty had a sit down with him.
Well, of course.
Earlier on in the year, but I mean, it's again, right? He's another guy I look at and I go, wow, he looks like he's comfortable doing what he's doing now. He's not.
Yeah, just look at Jack and Barron, right? Both guys needed to work on shit, had struggling at the beginning of the year. One guy figured it out, one guy didn't. He's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it is, right? So,
yeah.
I mean, Jack figured it out, and I'd rather have him on the ice than in the penalty box. But when you're going to need a guy like that, you got him there.
Yeah, absolutely. And not even that too, but even Struble as kind of that seventh rotational defenseman. I mean, even then, like Struble's also very good too. And he's like a depth guy right now.
Yeah, he's been fine. He's, replacing Savard the last 3 games. Struble hasn't. Maybe there was one guy. I think, was it Chicago? I think against Chicago, he wasn't great. But the 2 following, I thought Struble was just fine. He was.
And he's another one of those defensemen who kind of plays a two-way game. I mean, we know how physical he is.
Modern defenseman.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's, what makes up our decor right now. And same with a guy like Struble. He's going to be physical. He's going to be smart defensively in his own end. But the kid's got wheels. He's got good hands. He's a really good passer of the puck. I think a very underrated passer of the puck.
Yeah, he's a good 7th defenseman.
Yeah.
Right now, especially the way the team is set up.
I remember a couple years ago you said Struble might have been the odd man out.
No, it wasn't a couple of years ago. It was before the start of last season.
Oh, yes.
And then he got into the lineup, and we saw what we
Rick
got
went,
there.
Oh, that was right. He's kind of good.
He hadn't gotten a shot. I thought this is a guy that seems like.
But I told you, I said no. Wait and see. I've seen him play hockey. He's good.
I get it. I just, hey,
He's
listen, I'm
smart.
not
He's
always
fit, and
right.
like I said, he's only 6 foot, but he's built like a friggin'
Yeah,
gorilla,
he's
brick shit house, whatever you want to call it. Like he's built.
he's in top shape. That's for sure. There's no doubt about that. So yeah, this team has turned the corner. By the way, you're watching. Let us know what you think. How do you agree with us? I know there are some fans out there. I think by now this little win streak has turned most fans around. It's not just like a fluky win streak. You can, if you know your hockey, you can recognize a team that's been in a rebuild for a while has turned a corner on their rebuild. Like this, if a rebuild is going to be 5 years, right? And you got to be by year 3, most teams, I think, save for 1 or 2 on a 5-year rebuild, regress in year 3. And they start to turn around in year 4. Montreal, it seems to me, they started the season regressing, but have already turned that around. What it says to me is this is a team that looks like they're on pace to finish their rebuild in the 5 years.
Yeah, no, I think so. And look, like we said, I mean, Laine's been sick. I think he's got the flu. So he hasn't been in the lineup. Demidov's obviously still playing in the KHL. He's not in the lineup.
Right.
But I think the other key addition that I want to talk about that helped them turn this corner, not just Carrier, but finally telling Primo, listen, you're not it, man. You got to go down. Yeah. And they got to give Dobish a chance. And Dobish has been friggin' both games he played, he was fantastic.
And you know what? And I think I know the reason why Dobish came in and looks like he's ready. He's got a great attitude.
No, he really does. And it's not like he didn't play a lot of hockey beforehand. I mean, he played all 4 years at Ohio State. He played the last 2 years in Laval. I mean, he's got a lot of hockey under his belt.
He's got a great attitude.
He does.
I saw a little interview.
He's a really, really good kid.
I saw a snippet of an interview. The reporter was asking him about, I guess, coming in or being an underdog, or he didn't use the word underdog, but what Dobish kind of stopped him and said, no, we're not underdogs. I don't see us ever as an underdog. We're not underdogs. I don't see that. I don't see us that way at all, he said. I like that attitude from especially a kid coming in. You got to think he's nervous. He's up against better competition, right? Stepping up. I think the reason why he's looked as good as he has is that he's got confidence in himself.
And he was a standout goaltender. I mean, I don't think he's as good as Jacob Fowler, but like same scenario though. He played all 4 years of college hockey and was a top goaltender each year.
Yeah, no, I remember that.
And he played in a lot of big games. He's got that kind of mental, confidence or attitude that you need to have. And I think Kent Hughes obviously saw that, and when things really went downhill with Caden Primo, we said, all right, I gotta make this move. Let's see what Dobish has, because Primo just can't play NHL hockey anymore. And that's no disrespect to Caden Primo, but that's just what it was.
Yeah. I think they didn't want to lose the asset, so I think but I think they should have had Dobish in the position he's in now, probably from training camp on. But if they had,
I think they did still want to give Primo a little bit, just because he did play pretty decent last year.
Yeah,
but
and if they would have waived him, he would have gotten picked up. He would have gotten claimed. Especially at that time, teams were desperate, some of them, for goalie, right? So I think that's the only reason why Dobish was not here earlier. It's just that, and they had to be ready to lose Primo to waivers, and like they're fed up enough that listen, if he's claimed, he's claimed. We got to make this change. But I don't think
it doesn't take a hockey analyst to know that they were at that point.
They had to get it right, but they had to get there to make the move. I don't think there's going to be a trade for a goalie. Like, I've talked about and has been talked about, because I kind of think Dobish is ready. And he's going to do fine as a backup goalie here. And I don't think they have to look to find another goalie. What I do think they're going to do is find a center. Even though Doc is doing well, I have a feeling they're going to make a move for a center.
And I mean, I've always liked Doc a little bit more on the wing myself.
Yeah, I could see that being.
But I agree, especially if we're in, again, where we are right now, like close to the deadline, we're, either in a wild card spot or a point out. Like, with the assets we have, I don't see why you don't say, hey, you know what? Let's see what happens.
Hughes sort of said it today. Did you see it all? He did.
No, I haven't had a chance to review it yet.
He did a mid-season, whatever you call that. So he was saying at one point, because he was being asked about these kind of things, and he said, listen, we got 22 games to see what we got and make a decision. And that's 22 games is the trading deadline. Yeah, so that's basically what they're doing. They're trying to decide if Kirby Dach is that guy going forward, second line center or not. He's starting to make a move that he might be, but I don't know. I mean, if you have an opportunity to pick up a real quality center and you've got the assets and you're fine with making that move, how do you not do that at this point? I mean, they want to make the playoffs. There's no doubt. Oh, he also said being in the mix for him wasn't really necessarily making the playoffs. Being in the mix was experience for this group in important games with a lot of pressure and just getting that experience. And that's what he was talking about. But doesn't mean that they don't want to make the playoffs. They do.
No, I mean, absolutely. And look, I mean, like I said, if they're in a spot like this at the deadline, I don't see how they don't go. We got a lot of assets here.
That's what he said. That's
pull off a trade. Like
that's what he said about the assets. That he was asked about that, and he said, probably if we're going to trade for assets, we're looking probably at even getting guys for down the road and not immediately. He said, or if we basically he said, if we make a move, we've got those pieces that we can use.
I mean, they do. I mean, we still got a shitload of draft picks the next 2 years.
Yep.
Plenty of prospects that I'd be all right with trading. Like, there's really only a couple guys, obviously, that are, I wouldn't take calls on. But it's, guys like Beck or, obviously Fowler, guys like that, obviously, they're not going to take calls on.
No, there's some untouchables there.
But, there's guys like, guys like a Riley Kidney, maybe, or maybe even Misha. Like, I don't know, but there's guys that they can.
There's guys that they have. There's draft picks they can put together. All right, we've spent a little bit too much time on this topic, so we are going to move on, and we are going to move on to the 3 stars of the last 3 weeks. So there was, I don't know. Again, I don't know how many games exactly were, but we usually do this for every week. But we've been off, I've got 3 and then 3 honorable mentions. So let's just try to give a quick reason why, and you can start with your number 3.
Yeah, so my number 3 star the last 3 weeks goes to Jacob Dobish. I don't see how you couldn't give it to him. I mean, I can't think of a more a situation where you couldn't be more nervous coming in as your NHL debut, right, against the defending Stanley Cup champions, and you go out there and you look like you've been playing NHL hockey for the past year or so. Like he was fantastic in that game. Didn't let the pressure get to him at all. Made great saves. I mean, just looked really comfortable in net and followed that up with another great performance. I forget who that game was. That the Colorado game he was in?
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, just to shut out or not shut up, but win against the Avalanche in the shootout.
Habs don't win that game if Dobish doesn't keep them in it for the first 2 periods.
Like I don't see how you don't give him the third any star, but for me, 3rd star, because I just think my 1st and 2nd star have earned it and then some. But yeah, Dobish for me, absolute third star. I mean, I can't be happier for him, and I hope he keeps it up. You know, I think he will. I mean, I think he's got, like you said, that attitude to play here.
If he would have played maybe one more game, I would have
Mm-hmm.
given him, but I didn't. I have Emil Heineman. Because
Yeah,
I went through
no,
the
I
game.
like that pick a lot.
I went through the games and looked over at the scoring. Okay, so I was looking over scoring. He was a big part of a lot of those games. He's had points in them, but it's not just that. Energy wise, he's out there. He's hard to play against. He's got a great shot, just all over the ice. This kid was good over this whole.
He's like a bulldog
period.
too after the puck. Like he'll get in there and get nasty. Like he's again another guy. He's gonna give you 110% every game.
Yeah, that's what I liked about him. But he was on the score sheet, and you noticed him every game on the ice. So Emil Heineman for me.
Mm-hmm. I think he's been pretty decent too on the back end. Like he's skilled. You know, I think this is a player that's going to be here for a long time. I think he's made a huge impression. And actually, last time I checked, I think he was like 6th in Calder rankings, which is pretty insane.
Yeah, in points. Well, yeah, he is. He's in the top 8.
He's been very, very good.
Yeah,
couldn't be happier. Really, I mean, it's again another, and I forget how we got him because I don't think we drafted him. I'm pretty sure
we got him in the Tyler Toffoli trade to Calgary.
And then is that the pick that or did we get him or did we get a pick that we used?
No, we got him in the trade.
Got him. Yeah, it was him and I think in a pick. Yep.
Yep. That was a good trade. Okay, who's your number 2?
My number 2 star is Jake Evans. I think Jake Evans has been, especially the last couple weeks of games, been one of our best players. I think he's still such an underrated player in this league. Both on the back end and in the offensive zone. I mean, he's scoring. I think he's 4th in the team in points right now, over 20 points.
Yep.
He's a +7.
He's really close to his career high.
Yeah, and he's a +7. He's a penalty killing machine.
Yeah.
He's a face off over 50% at the dot.
Yeah, he's a 50.
And again, just another guy that'll give you 110%. He's got a great attitude, and I know that just from watching him at Notre Dame. He played in a lot of big games there. Won a couple of conference titles. Played in a national championship game with them. So, you know, the big moments, that big stage is nothing for him, and it's showing. And I hope we re-sign him. I think he's a very valuable part of this team.
I had to decide. It was between Evans and Heineman for 3rd for me. But so my number 2 is Cole Caulfield. Caulfield has stepped up, but Laine went down in the 3 games. He's scored, I think, a goal in each of the 4 games, last 4 games. And he's points. He's almost at a point a game. He hasn't slowed down anywhere on the ice. And I love watching him play still. With everybody else on the team that's fun to watch, Cole Caulfield's still just fantastic. He's been points and assists all through these last 3 weeks, and just a big part of every game that I remember. Some big goals too. So Cole Caulfield's my number 2.
Yeah, again, the goal he scored against Vancouver too was awesome. It was just a really good place shot.
The last 3 or 4 have been. He's been good. That's so yeah.
He has. I think he's still on pace for 44, 45 goals.
45 right now. He's sitting on pace for 45.
For me, my first star, and I think you probably have him as your first star too. It's Lane Hutson.
Of course,
Lane Hutson is. I think he's one of the engines that make this team go. I don't think I can understate how important he's been to this team and
in a short period of time,
kind of turning this page in the rebuild. And I think a lot of people saw it coming. Some people didn't because they just don't watch hockey. But
I haven't watched him.
Not only one of the best rookies, but also one of the best defensemen in the league. In terms of points and creation and stuff like that.
He's a top 10 defenseman in his rookie season.
He is. And it's even crazy to me. I didn't think he would be that good. Like, I thought he was going to be really good close to that. I didn't think he was going to be that good right away.
I didn't think he'd be here.
I thought he was going to be close, but it's just been awesome watching him play. And again, I've watched a lot of his hockey. because I say it all the time. He went to BU, so got to go to a lot of his games. It's just he's such a treat to watch, and he's got a great attitude, and he's going to be a superstar in this league, for the next however many years he plays.
I was sure he was going to be good, but I didn't think he would be so good that basically he's leading this offense. And I don't care. You can say Nick Suzuki with the points and Cole and Liney and all this. This guy drives the offense. Like he literally just every shift he drives offense.
Well, he does, and not only that, but the power play.
Yeah, I mean power play,
power play.
But I mean 5 on 5.
Take him on and take that number 1 spot on the power play.
On 5 on 5, he's on the ice. Things are happening almost every time. He's driving up the ice. He's driving offense all the time. I didn't see that coming in his first season. I did not see that coming. So yeah, Lane Hudson is my number 1 guy as well. Have you got any honorable mentions?
I'm going to throw Heineman in there. I agree with you. Heineman's been fantastic. And, again, it's to have, even a guy like him is performing that well as a rookie is just awesome. And again, just bodes well for the future of this team and the way that Ken Hughes and Jeff Gorton are constructing it.
Oh, yeah. You got to have guys like that in your bottom, if you're in your bottom 6, or you're not going to win championships.
No.
That's just the way it is. You need guys like that, like Evans. Is he your only honorable mention?
I mean, if I had to pick another one, I might throw Kirby Dach in there just because he's really picked it up and really looked more like the Kirby Dach that we saw last season before he got hurt. And I think a lot of that just has to do with recovering from that injury,
The knee.
It looks like he feels a lot more comfortable on his knee now than he did earlier on in the year. And again, it's showing. I mean, he's been a lot more physical. He's scoring. He's getting assists. Like
when he's not worried about the knee,
so good.
When you're not worried about the knee, what you're doing with it, you can concentrate a little more on your game. And I think that's basically the explanation, I think. All right, I got 3. Jake Evans, for everything he said. The only thing with Jake Evans, he's like shooting at like a 30% rate scoring. And that's not gonna stay. It's not gonna happen. But he's having a career year because a contract year. So you got to take that into account with re-signing and all that. But Jake Evans over this period of time has been great. I've got Kirby Dach as well because, he started his resurgence against Florida, and he's been good since then. And it's
really good.
It's 5 or 6 games, and he's looking like he has stepped up at least in his game this season. He might, and he's not where he's going to get to, but he's starting to get there. He's starting to move up there. So comfortable with the rebuilt knee. That's what it is, in my opinion. And that's it. I got one more. It is not Jacob Dobish, but I would have him here. But it's Monty. Monty has been great. Consistently, really solid. If you don't want to say great, Monty has been consistently solid. Keeping them in the games, if not winning them sometimes, flat out with some of the saves he's made. So Monty probably would have been my 3rd star, but I thought Heineman actually deserved it just as much, and I wanted to go with Heineman. But Monty has been great. That's all I got. All right.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with those. And I agree. I think Monty has been very, very solid. Here and there, he's let in a goal that he probably should save, but
every goalie does.
It's been what? Maybe 3 goals in the last couple of weeks?
Listen, every goalie does, and the losses that we did have, I don't blame them on him at all.
No.
I thought he's been great and deserving to be a star. All right, we're almost out of time, so let's get to next week's games. I'll tell you who they are. I forgot to use the graphics I had made. Jeez. We're in Washington not tomorrow. We're recording this Wednesday. But if you're watching this when it comes out, we're in Washington tomorrow. And then Dallas is in Montreal on Saturday. and then they're in Utah on Tuesday. So you go if you want to give scores, you can. But how do you think they're going to do for those 3 games?
Yeah, I mean they're not going to be easy games, but I mean the way they're playing, they can. I mean they can win any, and they can beat anybody they play against right now. I mean they're playing at that type of level, and I think the Dallas game might end up being the toughest, but again, I mean the Capitals game too in Washington. But I know Lindgren's kind of struggled a little bit lately, so I kind of think that game's more winnable than Dallas.
Logan Thompson's been pretty good this year, so.
Oh, he has.
So you got to worry about him. I don't worry about Lindgren. Thompson's the starter there.
Mm-hmm. Again, it's tough, but if we get Line back, I can certainly see, 3 wins out of 3. But I think realistically, we could end up seeing like probably 2-1. I think we win 2 of those games. I'm gonna say we beat Utah, and I'm gonna say that we beat Dallas. I think Washington might go to overtime.
All right, I'm different than you though. I'm. This is a better team. We've turned a corner. Washington has destroyed us so far this season. True. Have they not?
Yeah.
I think they beat Washington in Washington to show them that this is a team. This ain't the same team as they beat earlier in the year. The Dallas game is, I'm not sure, but I'm going to say a win. They're at home. They're going to win. They're going to beat Dallas. So Washington, Dallas wins. Oddly, in Utah, I think they lose. It's a game like Chicago. Mm-hmm. It's a team that right now they might look past. They might not play this. I don't know. There's something I'd say Utah's going to be a loss. And Utah's going to sweep us for the season, unfortunately. That's just what happens with Montreal sometimes, games like that. I think they're going to win the 2 hard games and lose the easier one that you would think. So it's going to be 2-1 for the week. That's for me.
Yeah, I think that's very possible. Like I said, I mean, this team is playing a lot better. This isn't the same team that started the year. I mean, I can't wait to watch these games. I mean, we go into games like that now with, and we really don't know. Earlier on in the season, I think you or I would have said probably 1-2 or 0-3. Like now, I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I would have said 1-2. That the Utah game they'd win but lose to the other 2. Now, no, there's no game. It doesn't matter what team. I don't care. You can't look at that and go, "Oh, we're going to get killed." You might say, we're probably going to lose, but it's going to be a good game. We'll keep it tight. They've stepped up. But you can't look at any game in particular and go, we're going to lose, because they've been winning games I wouldn't have thought. Right? So
I mean, I'm right there with you, and it's great. I mean, I couldn't be happier, and again, I mean, the rebuild, dare I say, might have picked up a little bit of steam. Might be over a little quicker than we thought.
That's a possibility, but I think that at the very least, they've turned a corner. A corner, I think so. Not the corner, a corner. They have improved. I'm not, they're not going to win a cup. I don't think that going in, but they've improved, and I think they'll make a run. At the beginning of the season, I said they're going to make a run and just fall off and just miss. I think they could do that, and I could even see them making it. So they're right around
especially
where
with
I
how
would have
tight the East is. And it looks like the Bruins might enter free fall at any moment now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, no, we're only 4 points behind Boston for 3rd place in the Atlantic right now.
Yep.
That's crazy.
It's awesome. All right. Any last thoughts on anything before we go?
No, I think that wraps it up.
Yeah, I think the same thing. So we're going to take off. Thanks for watching. We appreciate that. Sorry for missing the 3 weeks, but it was the holidays, and it happened to be that the holidays landed right on our recording day, so we took off. And we'll be back next week as normal, and we'll have some whatever happens this week, and we'll talk about that. Thanks for watching. Till next time, stay safe out there. Peace out, y'all, as I like to say, and have a great week. And we'll see you next week.
Go Habs, go.
Go Habs, go.
Swagger down the street with your red lips and funky beat. You better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die.